Today, we thought we'd make a quick video discussing what's the most reliable Audi built within the last 20 years.
Whoa, hold on one second, Trav. Okay, so back in 1970, Audi hit the US market. They were fun, they were sporty, they had the rally cars and whatnot, but they were known as the sinkhole for service. And what's that mean? Well, that means that these things were always in the shop.
But in recent years, if you're looking to buy an alternative to a Benz or a BMW, you go with an Audi. And they've gotten way better as time has gone by.
They are incredible, especially when they came out with that S line. They really killed the market, and BMW's come with the M Sport and whatnot, and Mercedes has the, I don't know what Mercedes has. They have nothing. Anyway, today we're gonna talk about the most reliable Audis you can get in.
So we'll start this list off with a car that's dear to both of our hearts, the B5 S4.
S4, baby. And that thing was so cool. It was like a big vacuum cleaner that kind of had a Camry feel and like Camry brakes, but man, that thing just rocketed 0 to 60.
Yeah.
And it had what, KO4s on it, or
They were just KO3s.
Oh, KO3s.
Ours was tuned. We had a turbo back exhaust. It was a fun car. It was a
Way
really,
too much
really
fun.
clean car.
Way too much fun.
But it was an absolute nightmare to own. It's the only car either of us have owned that's left us dead more than once. In fact, it left us dead 4
That's why we got
different
AAA.
times. That
Totally.
car caught on fire.
Well, and the twin turbos, right? Like to access them. One of them I think was going out right before we sold it. Well, no, it wasn't going out. The chance that it went out, how did you have to access that twin turbo?
The only way to get to the turbos on these is a complete engine removal. I mean, there's a few guys that said they've been able to do it just by dropping the subframe, but I don't think so, man. I think it's quicker just to pull the engine. And that's the problem with really the 2.7 in general, is it's kind of a pain to work on, and it has so many flaws.
And that 2.7 I think also came in the all-road, didn't it?
It also did come in the all-road.
The most unreliable Audi ever built.
By far, possibly the most unreliable car ever built.
Let's move on.
True story, on Jalopnik. Go look it up. I mean, if it's on Jalopnik.
So another car that we want to talk about, we had a D3 A8. It was a 2004, and that car was a quick flip. It was a pretty cool car. There was some stuff on the interior that would fail, like the MMI or...
I mean, overall, those are pretty reliable cars, but you have little things that go wrong all the time. Like, we had a problem with the air suspension with ours. We had the MMI door. There's a little door that covers the... That went wrong. Ton of money to fix.
The what? The what?
What else went wrong?
But overall, it was a pretty reliable car. It was, right? And the next owner got a good price on it. And so that car isn't the most reliable, but it's definitely showing that over the years, Audi has built a better product. Because our B5 S4 was 2001. This was an 04, and we definitely could tell a difference that car was...
Huge improvement.
Was a lot better.
The saving grace on that A8 though was it was actually a belt drive V8, so it doesn't have the timing chain problems that pretty much the rest of the V8 Audis did.
Like what kind of V8s? Like our Pinnacle V8?
Not the one that we're gonna talk about next.
Okay. This car I think is the overall package if money isn't a factor, and that is the
V8 R8.
Yeah, baby.
Those are actually fantastic cars. They do have a few little problems, but it's mostly superficial stuff. Like the magneto rheological suspension, that can go wrong. Those can start leaking. It's a bit expensive. Sometimes high pressure fuel pumps fail, but for the most part, that's a turnkey super
car.
As far as supercars go,
yeah,
it's kind of hard to beat the reliability of an R8.
Yeah, and on top of that, that 4.2 liter that's in the Audi R8 is almost identical to the RS4, which they came out in 08 as well.
Right, and huge improvement to the V8 in the RS4 and the R8. Double row timing chains was huge. It basically totally got rid of the timing chain issues that the rest of the V8s had, and that was like their Achilles heel, right? So if you want a V8 Audi...
RS4, R8.
Yeah.
What's next on our list, Trav?
So we've got to touch on the 2-liter TFSI and TSI Volkswagen Group engines. Like, that's the most popular engine that goes in pretty much any Audi and almost every VW. That engine has been a huge nightmare for the company. It's actually pretty reliable now, but if you buy an older one, like pre-2011, I mean, they had a myriad of problems. Everything from needing piston and ring replacement for oil consumption. They'd have turbocharger wastegate failure. They've had intake camshaft failure. They've had high pressure fuel pump failure.
Okay, that's enough. That's enough. So they're not good. They're not going to make our list.
It's been a nightmare, but buying one now, like a 12 or up, or an older one that's had several updates done to it, they're pretty solid engines.
Okay.
If you're going to buy one, though, I mean, know what you're getting into.
And speaking of updates, let's talk about the Deflategate. Dieselgate for a second, man. That was a big problem, huh? And it's still not over.
Whoops. So the thing about the diesels is they're actually pretty reliable. Like, they're actually rock star engines. But they're all cheaters.
Yeah.
And that's
we don't like cheaters
great.
here at Ideal Cars. Oh, shut up.
So moving on, let's touch on the 4-liter turbo. Now it's actually a twin turbo V8, and it's a reverse flow engine, which means the exhaust manifolds live on the inside of the V, and the really cool engine. Kind of a pain to work on, but the problem is
they're so new that we don't know if they're reliable or not. So we still have a couple of years before we can actually put that in the running for one of the top most reliable versus price cars. That being said, from what we've seen so far,
right, they've been good, and they are a blast to drive.
Yeah,
they're ton
pretty
of power,
trick.
tons of torque. Like, try one
for fun, not for real.
So by far and away, the most reliable engine to come out of the Volkswagen Group within the last 20 years has got to be the 3-liter supercharged V6.
You know, Trev, what ones had that motor?
So they actually put it in a ton of cars. It came in the Q5, the Q7, the S4, the S5, the A8, the A6.
Dang. So if you can find one of those cars with that motor, you're not going to be in the service that much.
Right. Quick note though, specifically with the Q7, those have had some problems that like the early one, so it's a brand new car now, a brand new one might be fine, but the previous one, they had problems with the sunroof frame would crack, and it would leak, and it would take out the navigation. I would avoid the old Q7.
Right, and that's the thing with reliability is it's not just the motor and just the drivetrain, but it's everything. And with Audis, you want great electronics as well as great drivetrain. And like we said, with that V6, the 3-liter, with the supercharger, that motor is really reliable. But Trev, what cars are electronically reliable? Like, is there anything out there right now?
From Audi?
Yeah.
Honestly, I wouldn't hesitate to buy a B8 or B8.5 S4 or a C6 A6.
So Trav, are you saying that that B8 or B8.5 S4 checks like almost all the boxes, considering it has that V6 supercharged motor, and then it's one of the most reliable electronically as well?
I think so. I think it's one of the best Audis they've ever made. But depending on which transmission you want, I'd get a B8.5 if you're looking to get the DSG.
Otherwise, get a 6-speed?
Otherwise, get a 6-speed.
So we're now going to narrow it down to the 3 finalists for the most reliable Audi per price point, okay? So
my pick for a mid-range Audi is gonna have to be the C7 A6 with the 3-liter. I think build quality is off the charts. I think it's nicer than an E-Class. I think it's nicer than the 5 Series of the same generation.
Right.
They're a blast to drive. I mean, that's a quality car.
Okay, so that's our mid-tier.
They look the part. I mean,
that's our mid-tier. That's our mid-tier. Yeah. Okay, let's go for a little bit lower. What's our low tier? And low tier, again, like you still get into an Audi, which is a high quality German engineered car. It oozes coolness, I think. And so what's that low tier? What's the one that like we can, as maybe a first car or first sports car you get into that has the reliability?
I think you go with an A4.
A4?
Just an A4. Make sure you buy one. If you're gonna get one older than like 2012, just make sure it's got service history. Make sure if it ever had oil consumption problem, the pistons have been updated. If it was one old enough to have the fuel pump problems, like you just wanna make sure you're getting one that's had all the updated parts that Audi has had to install on these to make them properly reliable.
Okay, and you can check with the dealership if you're gonna buy one of those cars and see if it's been performed at the dealer. If it hasn't, either heavily discount it or don't even buy it.
The good thing is almost all those high failure parts have extended warranties now to like over 110,000 miles.
Dang.
So,
okay.
And the added benefit of that car is with a simple tune for like $500 or $600, it's almost as quick as the S4.
What is our top tier, Trav? What is that car? For no price, it doesn't matter.
If you're gonna buy the top tier car that's still the most reliable, I think that's a toss up, because it's either gonna be an RS5 or an R8 V8. I'd stay away from the V10 as far as if you're looking for just the most reliable one you can get, because the V10s have some really crazy problems.
Okay. So if we were gonna break this down to the ratio, right, of performance, reliability, and price, what is it? Low tier, mid tier, or top tier? What do you think?
I think mid tier.
Mid tier? Okay. I think the A4 is probably your best bet. I think that for the price that you can get one of those 2012 or olders, that is probably the best bang for your buck. He thinks that the A6 C7 is your best bang for your buck. I don't think you can go wrong with either.
Neither do I. Which is saying something, because for a company that's generally has a stigma for being very unreliable, they're not really building a bad car these days.
They're not. In fact, I mean, they're taking over the market. BMW and Mercedes is chasing Audi right now. So I don't think you can go wrong. Obviously, if you can get into an RS5 or an R8 V8, go do it. But otherwise, mid-tier, low-tier, all of them are great cars, but that's just our thoughts on which ones are the most reliable for the price. Just remember to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Ideal Cars TV. And please subscribe, smash that like button because we're gonna go pick up an R8.
True story. We'll see you next time.